And good morning and a happy Would You Rather Wednesday to you. It is Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn Clark. He's Griffin Bass. Voice is kind of back, which is good because after I go to Rage Against the Machine tonight, there will be none. So I'm having our buddy Spiro Marikas come in and hang out with us tomorrow morning, which I'm very excited. Spiro and I always like to have themes whenever we do the show together. Tomorrow's theme is we are debating the best months of the year. There was a tweet that was going viral a couple weeks ago. Somebody said, I'm so bored, I'm about to rank the best months of the year. And then immediately everybody was like, this is a great idea. Let's all do this. So I put out my ranking, and Spiro, like he is one to do, he's wrong about a great number of things. I don't know what happened. Yeah, really.
I just touched it.
Disappeared entirely. Spiro, like he's one to do, he loves to be wrong. It's one of his favorite things in the world is to be wrong. Like he's wrong about the song Kokomo by the Beach Boys, which we all know is a fine song. It's not one of the greatest songs of all time. It's not one of the great Beach Boys songs of all time, but it ain't trash. It doesn't suck. The way that people try to pretend it sucks, it does not. Spiro and I have fought about that over the years. We fought about a number of things, and he wanted to fight me about my rankings. And so tomorrow morning, the 10 a.m. hour, that's what we're doing. And if that's not for you, I wanted to give you the middle finger, but that's inappropriate.
So it'll be an hour-long conversation?
I mean, we might talk about other things, maybe, but knowing Spiro and I, we're gonna get into this. There's some meat on them bones. We're getting in. We are going for it. I'm sure Spiro will want to say something about Vin Scully. I'm sure maybe Towson will come up at some point. I don't know. Some thoughts about the Ravens, the Orioles. Who knows? But I know damn well that Spiro and I will definitely be spending a lot of time debating the ranking of the best months. And anyone who doesn't think that number one is November can get the F out. There is no month like November. It is the greatest thing that ever happened ever. I get it. You start to get the feeling of it being too cold. I understand that. But it ain't. It's not December. It's not January. It's not February. It's just a reminder it's coming. It's fall. Fall is perfect. Fall is when we have football. And the greatest... All right, I don't want to waste too much. This is going to all come up on the show tomorrow. We're doing this tomorrow. The greatest day of the year falls in 1 month. It's November. That's the best month. Period. Period with a T, like the kids say. Spiro will join us tomorrow to talk about it. Now, part of the reason I'm glad that Spiro will be here tomorrow. Oh, also, he doesn't think Rage Against the Machine should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So that'll probably come up at some point. God. Oh, it's so funny. He did. He essed all over Rage when we were doing our Hall of Fame debate. The moral of the story is that we will do that tomorrow, and it'll be good that Spiro's here because after I go see Rage Against the Machine tonight, and I'm like, I won't do what you tell me. I won't do it. I'm going to be that guy. Bulls on parade. I'm going to scream along with every song. I will not have a voice tomorrow. And I'm sorry. I'm just telling you that in advance. Be prepared so Spiro can handle most of the talking. What am I supposed to go see Rage Against the Machine and not yell along? Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing? All right, so that's what's going on. Today on the program, we will have Drew Forrester join us. We will also catch up with the great Gary Thorne. Of course, obviously, very sad news last night. And again, it's the same thing I said when we were talking about Bill Russell on the radio show on Sunday. It's not tragic. When someone lives an incredibly complete life, their death is by no means a tragedy. It's still sad. It's sad to lose an icon, no matter what their age is. It's a tragedy when a young person passes away. Jalen Ferguson dying was a tragedy. Vin Scully's passing is not a tragedy. Vin Scully lived an unbelievable life. But it's still sad. Vin Scully, the legendary longtime voice of the Dodgers, who was also a voice of many national sporting events over the years. It's amazing to think about all of the moments that Vin Scully was involved with. You know, when someone's so associated with one team, it's easy to forget all of the other things they did and forget that, like, he was on the call for Dwight Clark's catch and he was on the call for the Mets, in the Bill Buckner play. I appreciate Griffin, of course, to honor the great Vin Scully, came in today in his Padres uniform, which Is that a Machado or?
It's I got a Juan Soto jersey. I'm going all in with the Padres now that they're
Wait, are
they're
you
winning.
Is that really a Juan Soto jersey? I'm like, what the
it's
hell?
It's a Tatis jersey.
That's Tatis. I do
Yes.
like Fernando Tatis.
Yeah,
Isn't he back? Did he come back?
He should be back like this week or next. I think
I
he's
thought
coming
that,
back. But
yeah.
they're adding some big bats to this lineup this week.
They're going for it. They are going for it. Plus,
I noticed I got stains on this jersey. I don't know what they're from, so that's kind of not good.
Well, at least it's not a white jersey, pal. That would be really bad. That'd be really bad.
That's my problem. I love white jerseys. White jerseys are that's my favorite.
I'm wearing a white shirt today
Yeah.
too, and it's probably a mistake. I'm gonna go over to Glory Days later, get some of that, get the opener, and have Korean #2 sauce all over my shirt in a second. Carson Weekly at the end of the show yesterday was like, "All right, guys, I'm done. Like, I'm gone. See you forever." I'm like, "What the f?" Maybe give me a little bit of a heads up that today was gonna be your last show. So I told him he has to come back. He's like doing the math. He's like, "Well, I'm home for one day before I go back to college." I'm like, "Well, you're gonna come in and we'll go to Glory Days. That will be how that goes." So I look forward to that. Yeah, Gary Thorne will join us, and we will talk about the legendary Vin Scully and why. Why was it that Vin Scully was so widely accepted as being the greatest broadcaster of all time? To take nothing away from him. And obviously, I understand why anyone in Los Angeles would feel that way. But why does the entire country feel that way about Vin Scully? It's a question that I can't define, that I'm hoping that Gary Thorne can help us out with a little bit. Of course, famously, when Vin was retiring a few years ago, it was made more public. You know, the first ever sporting event that Vin Scully ever called, Griffin, was...
Sorry, I was reading something. I'm sorry.
We got to lock that up. We
I
got to
know,
lock
I
that
know.
up. We got to lock that up.
Repeat the question, please.
No, we got to talk about that.
Okay.
You got to stop. You can't do that.
Okay.
We're doing a show. Okay? All right? This is going to be a coaching moment right now.
I understand.
We're doing a show. Nothing else. You want to have Twitter up in the background in case something breaks? That's fine. No problem. If you want to be the one to say, "Hey, I got news," but you gotta be.
I understand.
You gotta be logged in. We'll skip that part. We'll skip that part altogether. Famously, the first ever sporting event that Vin Scully ever called was a Maryland football game.
Really?
Against Boston University at Fenway Park, and he did it from the roof. And apparently he did not wear a hat or gloves or anything like that, despite the fact that it was freezing cold outside, and that was what impressed Red Barber, and that's why Red Barber was willing to give him a job. So that's pretty cool. Also this morning, Mike Devereaux is going to join us, and Mike played for the Dodgers for a little bit, so we'll probably bring up Vin Scully when we chat with Mike Devereaux, but obviously the bigger reason why Mike Devereaux is going to join us is because he's coming back to town. He will be here at Camden Yards this weekend celebrating the 30th anniversary of Oriole Park at Camden Yards. So we will catch up with Mike Devereaux this morning to talk about that, the anniversary, what's going on in his world. I've talked many times during my career about the fact that as a child, Mike Devereaux was singularly my favorite baseball player ever. Loved Mike Devereaux to the point where I asked my mother to sew his name and number on the back of a blank jersey so that I could go as Mike Devereaux for Halloween one year. Believe it or not, we didn't look exactly alike. But other than that. All right, so that's coming up on the program today. And, of course, Would You Rather Wednesday. The scenarios are up at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio for you to respond. Pretty straightforward scenarios today. I didn't try to complicate much of anything because I feel like we've struggled with that a bit over the years. Didn't try to complicate things with Would You Rather Wednesday. What are you trying to tell me? What are you...
All right, so we're going to talk to Rick Dempsey in 15 minutes.
Okay. All right. Do you have Drew's number?
I do, yes.
All right, see if you can. I like Rick. I mean, I'm happy to. Rick, of course, also played for the Dodgers. I think everybody knows that. And so I guess we'll spend a couple minutes talking about Vin Scully. We're doing a lot of Vin Scully this morning. Doing a lot of that. Yeah. I'm happy to talk to Rick. I love Rick. Everybody knows I love Rick. It's Uncle Rick, right? But next time, once we've got a guest to talk about the topic, we don't need to double up on that. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's okay. We'll be all right. It's okay. I know we're still learning. I know we're still getting at this. It's fine. It's fine. We'll talk to Rick Dempsey because who doesn't love Rick Dempsey? Who doesn't love the great Rick Dempsey? All right. Orioles win last night. Obviously, there's nothing more to say about the trade deadline. I have a column coming today at PressBoxOnline.com. I did my weekly hit with Coleman last night on the Fan, and I said, look, man, as far as the trades that were made are concerned, I'm largely neutral. And I told you guys the way that I felt about this yesterday. I think they did better than I expected they could do for Trey Mancini, so I'm not as worked up about it. I don't think they did as well as I thought they were going to do on Jorge Lopez. Of course, that can be proven wrong down the line. But on paper, I'm disappointed by what they got for Jorge Lopez. So if I'm, kind of impressed on what they did on one and disappointed on what they did on the other, it kind of works out to neutral. I'm largely neutral with the trades themselves. The thing that does irk me, there are two things that irk me. The first, I can't get over the comments that Mike Elias made. I can't get over that. I can't get over that the call was coming from inside the house. I can't believe that it was the baseball team that was trying to throw cold water. Mike Elias represents the team. He is a spokesperson for the team. I can't believe he would be the one throwing cold water on a fan base and the love affair they're feeling with the team. I can't believe that. I don't care. Those of you that are like, I appreciate the honesty. Get the F out of here, man. There is a city trying to fall in love with a baseball team again. The least you could do is say, we think we got a shot. You don't have to drastically change your plans. As I said yesterday, there's a million things you could do. We understand it's going to be difficult, but we like the group that we've got out there. We don't think we drastically change those chances. You could say honestly, hey, we're going to fight to try to get in. We know it's going to be difficult to win a World Series and want to keep our focus on trying to win a World Series long term. To throw cold water on, I don't think it's probable to get a wild card is nuts. It's a nuts thing for a representative of a team to say. And I get it. Mike Elias' concern is baseball and baseball only, but at some point you have to show concern for the fan base and the separation that has existed between the franchise and the fan base for the last 5 years. I'm befuddled by those comments. I am hoping that he just honestly misspoke. And that if somebody, talked to him about it 24, 48 hours later, he'd say, dude, I regret that. I shouldn't have done that. I should not have publicly said that. And on top of that, obviously the players are in the clubhouse. Of course, the players that are in the clubhouse, clearly unaffected by it, because all they've done is gone out and win the next two games they played. But it bothers me greatly that Mike Elias said that. And you can say, well, I thought you're the type that likes honesty. I like honesty, but the problem is, if this is honest, I got a problem with it. Like, just saying something honestly, it's like saying when somebody says, well, I hate gay people. Wow, what, didn't you? They were honest. Don't you respect that? No. And I'm not trying to make it abundantly clear. I'm not comparing anything about what Mike Elias said to him. Somebody saying that they hate gay people. I want to make that abundantly clear. But just being honest doesn't make something okay. It's not okay to throw cold water on a fan base. You can make the same moves that you're making and just gauge it in another way. Just come up with anything else to say besides it's not probable that we're going to win a wild card. Well, then I guess I don't need to waste my time coming out of the games, right? If you, a representative of the team, are telling me that this doesn't mean anything, then what am I doing? I was going to have to suffer through a Smash Mouth concert this weekend. Thank you for allowing me to cancel my plans. I'm not trying to be overdramatic about it because I don't think it's the end of the world, but I can't get over it. I can't believe that he said that. I'm flummoxed. In the depths of my soul, I'm flummoxed. I can justify the moves that are being made. I don't love them. I think anybody who's celebrating or is trying to claim like the Orioles had some victory by making these trades, stop it. Stop. You're embarrassing yourself too. You have no clue. You're just saying words for the sake of saying words, either because you want to feel better, because I get it. You always want everything to be rosy when you're a fan. Well, the Orioles are doing the smart thing. You don't a tenth of an idea if they're doing the smart thing. Sometimes it's okay to just say nothing or to be neutral. It's okay to say, I'm neutral about this. I don't know. I have no idea if the Orioles made good decisions this week. I, Glenn Clark, have no clue. What I do know is that you can't, as the general manager of the team, throw out with a fan base listening that has been fractured and has been through hell and still has questions about the long-term health of the organization. You can't say to them, guys, come on, this is fool's gold. This isn't real. You can't say that. The other issue I have, admittedly, with what has happened and transpired this week, is that I have said all along, the reason why I would still be okay with, say, trading a Jorge Lopez, the reason why I'm not going to lose my mind, where I can even say it's justifiable, is because there's one phrase that I've continued to say from moment one this season I'm not going to abandon despite the fact that the Orioles are suddenly in the thick of a playoff race. That phrase is that next year is more important than this year. And in deciding when they were going to call up prospects and deciding how they were going to handle their business, I continuously said that. Next year is more important than this year. And I'm not wavering from that. The problem is the Orioles aren't saying that. Not with what they've done. The Orioles would be more inclined to be saying nothing matters until 2024 because they're doing nothing that would project or portray that next year they're looking to compete either. They acquired 6 players. Of those 6, one of them is above the single-A level. One. These weren't moves that were made with the thought that next year matters. And I get it. The argument is that next year they're not likely to move into World Series contention either. I understand. I mean, I do. I do understand. But next year is when they should be taking the step towards it. And we've talked about the need for them to go out and spend money this offseason. Sign pitching. Show progress. Show the window opening. Winning games this year is good, but again, you're telling us this is fool's gold. Those are your words. Progress has to be made. What they did at the deadline does not preclude them from going out and signing players this offseason. It doesn't preclude them from starting to put a shift, moving into gear for next year to be a year that matters, where they think they can compete, where they think they could be worthy of getting into the postseason, of taking a step in the direction. But they've still not bought out anyone's arbitration years. They've still showed no commitment long-term to any of the young players as being core pieces of what they're doing for the future. You could say that Adley Rutschman is the obvious one, and of course he is. And by the way, it really is amazing watching Adley Rutschman become the player everyone said he was going to be, literally right in front of our eyes. It is what a joy it is to get to watch Adley Rutschman play baseball and realize, holy crap, this guy is the guy. It's insane. It warms my heart. But is Adley Rutschman going to be a centerpiece for 10 years to come? Or is Adley Rutschman going to be a guy who's here until you have to pay him? I don't have any reason to believe they're not going to pay someone, but I don't know what reason I have, if I'm an average fan, to have faith in it either. The Orioles have to decide who they're going to be. And they don't have to decide it today. I do want to be fair about this. These aren't decisions that have to be made today. but they shouldn't be waiting 2 more years. Winning shouldn't get in the way of the plan. Winning should be the plan. Which doesn't mean you needed to go all in now, because, again, there is room to be realistic. But part of being realistic should be, hey, it's time for us to accelerate. And maybe move it up a year. Maybe reconsider when it is that we're going to start spending money. Reconsider what we want to do in a trade. And instead of valuing getting a number of young pieces, perhaps we value guys that could be ready sooner and difference makers. And I don't know what was on the table. I don't know what kind of offers they had. Maybe this is literally all they could do for Jorge Lopez. Maybe this is literally all they could do for Trey Mancini. And again, I think they did fairly well for Trey Mancini. They injected a new number 3 overall pitching prospect into their system. I would have bet against that. Again, with a qualification that guy's not going to be helpful for a while. Single A pitcher that's got to go through Tommy John surgery. Not going to pitch at all. And then still has to graduate, go through the steps when he does. I get it. Tommy John surgery is not the career ruiner that we once upon a time thought it was going to be. When is the window? When is it? Because if Adley Rutschman isn't bought out of his arbitration years, then his clock's going to start ticking. And again, I hope that I don't have to panic about any of these things. I hope that they'll get it all right and that they'll learn from the last time. But I have every right, after what happened the last time with Manny Machado, and this fan base has every right to be concerned about it. And to say, hey, we don't just have blind faith. You've got to give us the reason to have faith. I like a lot of what Mike Elias has done, but I have no idea if Mike Elias knows how to build a champion. And to say, well, the Astros turned into champions, that's fine. Mike Elias wasn't making the final calls, and the Astros showed a commitment to doing what was necessary in order to bridge the gap. Will the Orioles? We don't know. They might. I certainly hope they will. I would like to believe that they didn't go into this without a commitment that, hey, when we get there, we're going to do what's necessary. But I don't know that. And I keep hoping for a sign. I keep hoping for one particular thing that gives me that comfort, that faith that they will. We'll see. We'll see. I'm writing about it today at PressBoxOnline.com. I have no thought whatsoever on. I can't fathom why you would give up not $100,000. I don't know why you would give up $1 for Brett Phillips. I am so befuddled by an interest in Brett Phillips. Seems like a great guy. Seems like a great guy. I have no idea why you would put Brett Phillips on your baseball team instead of allowing one of your players to get whatever at bats Brett Phillips might get. I'll never understand that. The guy's hitting 147 this year, and it's not all that drastically off of his career average of 190. I can't believe the guy's been in Major League Baseball as long as he has as a 190 career hitter. And it ain't because he hit so many home runs. So weird. Such a weird bit. All right. I love this guy. Of course, the MVP of the 1983 World Series, an Orioles Hall of Famer, and a guy that we welcomed into our living rooms and our homes for years as a broadcaster. But would actually like to spend a little bit of time talking about the other World Series that he won, and that was in '88 with the Dodgers, and getting to have his games called by a legend. Joining us now here on GCR, he is the great Rick Dempsey, and he's with us. Rick, it's Glenn back in Baltimore. It's always good to catch up, my friend. Thank you for taking the time.
How are you, Glenn? I miss you guys, I'll tell you.
Miss you, sir. Miss you. You know, we love you. You know that.
I know it.
Rick, when I say the name Vin Scully, what comes to mind for you?
What comes to mind is when I was 8 years old and I'd go to sleep at night, I'd take that little radio under the blanket and the covers so my mom and dad wouldn't hear it. But I would listen to Vin Scully announce those Dodger games and talk about Don Drysdale and Sandy Koufax and all of the great players that the Dodgers had around those times. And, listening to Vinny call the game and the reflection of his voice and everything was so inspirational to me. He just brought so much excitement and so much life just by calling a strikeout, by calling a base hit, by calling a home run. Listening to the way he handled that World Series game just brought so much color and so much excitement to the fans. And then I had the gift of going to the Dodgers late in my career and playing what he called the impossible dream season for the Dodgers, probably ranked the worst team on paper in World Series history, playing the best team on paper, the Oakland A's in World Series history. And when Kirk Gibson hit that home run, it's like the floodgates opened up. It was vintage Vin Scully that just enamored the Los Angeles Dodgers to every baseball fan across the country. It is such a sad day for us all.
Rick, it's fascinating to me because I'm going to guess that a large number of baseball players don't – I mean, they're aware of the guy who's calling the games. Like, they see him, obviously, on the road, things like that. But I'm going to guess that most of them aren't terribly concerned about who it is that's calling their games. Why? Why was it so special for it to be Vin?
Well, it was all about Vinny. Vinny was God's gift to baseball. He just brought so much color, and he inflected so much excitement about baseball that anyone who loved the game would want to listen to a Vin Scully because he just somehow he had an effect on the sports world. It wasn't just baseball. It was football. It was golf. His voice and his character more than anything else. I mean, I think back at when Lenny Dykstra and I got in a fight at Dodger Stadium, and Vinny was calling that. And, he wasn't happy about the fact that we were fighting down on the field. He had this personality about baseball that it should be played one way and that, it should never get to the point where guys are out there slamming each other down on the field.
Wow.
He realized it was part of the game, but he was very consistent in his feelings about how things, needed to be down on the field to make baseball great. And he stayed consistent all the time. And we got along beautiful. He lived close to me. I saw Vinny on many of occasions. I really enjoyed it because he's the one that got my life started in baseball, because listening to the way he called the game made me want to play the game. And once I started to play the game, I just never wanted to give it up. I was a terrible student, didn't go to college, and I just wanted to play baseball, and at age 8 years old, it didn't matter that I signed my first contract at 145 pounds to be a catcher, and everybody was totally against me. I mean, I had to play baseball. I wanted someday for Vin Scully to be announcing my name in a major league lineup. And maybe, of course, every kid dreams of being the MVP of a World Series. Well, it happened. My dream came true. And so, I mean, to have Vin Scully talk about it in Los Angeles has given me some character with the LA fans, because they know that I came in and played the Angels in playoffs and had a pretty good series against those people. But, Vin Scully is just a baseball person. And, if you don't like Vin Scully, you're not a good person.
You don't have a soul. We can agree on that, Rick. You don't have a soul if you love Vin Scully. The great Rick Dempsey chatting with us on GCR. Rick, did your relationship with Vin it impact you? Obviously, you were never doing play-by-play as a broadcaster. You weren't doing what Vin did. No. But did it impact you as you made the jump into broadcasting that, you heard his voice and that you wanted to, do respect to him or something along those lines?
Well, I had the pleasure of working with Tom Davis, and he had a huge effect on me in this world. And so I was so bad starting out. I just didn't know. I just idolized Vin Scully, and Tom Davis, was right on line, with him too in a lot of respects. Like calling a ball game, he just had a great voice and a great knowledge of the game, and he knew how to make people feel good about it. And so that's what I got from Vin Scully. He always brought out the best parts of the game, the great plays. And, down on the field, sometimes it didn't seem like, that's routine. That's what Brooks Robinson does. He makes great plays. But when you have a guy like Vin Scully call those plays, back when the Orioles were playing the Dodgers in a World Series, I mean, it just added so much color and so much joy to the way he announced it. And, it's truly what made baseball what it is today.
It's awesome. Oh, it's awesome to hear you say those things. Oh, it's so cool. And the other thing that so many people have talked about, and I only had one conversation with Vin in my life, but the person he was tends to go right along with the conversation about the broadcaster that he was. And Rick, as you mentioned, the friendship that you developed with him over the years, can you speak to how someone who was so iconic, so beloved, such a larger-than-life figure continued to be such a gentleman and so respected and gave so much time to so many people?
Well, you said it as good as anybody could say it just now. He was the gentleman of Major League Baseball, just by the way he called the game. And, he just he made you feel better about the game. He made your team better to play in front of him, to listen to how he described. And think of all the stuff that he did. At age 22, he comes to the big leagues and starts announcing for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And everybody started to fall in love with him, and he just created a dynasty for himself. And there was no fooling around, because I know that there were times when I was asked to do things with Vinny. Vinny had a way about him. He didn't want to dilute anything about the game, so he would only allow a certain amount of people in the booth with him at a time. It was pure professionalism. That's the only way to describe him. He knew how to bring the best to baseball fans everywhere. And he'll live on forever. There will never be another Vin Scully. There's been a lot of great announcers around baseball in Detroit and a lot of places like that, but there'll never be another Vin Scully and the way that people loved him all over the world will never be matched again. And we were lucky enough to live through his era and hear the best of all time.
It's incredible. It's so powerful listening to you talk about him, Rick. If I could, because we're talking about good guys, we had a good guy leave Baltimore this week. Can you describe, I know that you haven't been around the last couple of years, but you know damn well what Trey Mancini meant to the city of Baltimore and to this Orioles franchise. Can you put into words, for someone who never played in a playoff game, who never played in an all-star game as an Oriole, could you describe what you think Trey Mancini has meant to this city and this franchise over the last 7 years?
He's been a lift for this organization for a long time. The Orioles haven't been in playoffs or World Series since 1983. And so, it's just with Trey Mancini going through what he went through with cancer, with a smile on his face and a fire in his heart to get better and to come back. And then to do what he's done, right now he's the best offensive player that the Orioles have. It's been tough for him to come back from his cancer, but I think everybody appreciates the fact that he still remains a very classy person, someone who, there was no complaining whatsoever about the bad break that he got and everything. He just came back and gave you everything he has. And so, I kind of knew the way baseball is today that there was a very good chance they would trade him. And in a way, I'm happy for him because he'll go to the Houston Astros now, and they'll probably juice up that contract on a yearly basis. But, it'll put him at least a little bit closer to where he should be compared to a lot of players around Major League Baseball. But you kind of knew that since he really was more of an offensive player, that the team, considering the direction they're going in, would look to get some younger players for him if they had that opportunity. And that's what came. They got a lot of good young pitching from this deal. And it's the nature of baseball today. And I know it's going to break a lot of hearts around Baltimore because he was just one of the all-time great guys that the Orioles had brought in.
Yep, we will miss him. We will miss him terribly in this city, Rick. We will miss him badly.
Yeah, I know you will.
How are you doing, my friend? How's life treating Rick Dempsey?
Well, it's baseballless right now, but I'm trying to keep my my hands and my my toes in Major League in baseball. I watch the Orioles probably 80% of their games, and I see that they're finally making a turn.
Yes, they are.
And there's a couple of elements there that have been missing for quite a while, and so the defense is slowly coming back, and the offense has been timely. Maybe not great, but it's been very timely, and they're winning some 1- and 2-run ball games, and that's a key for them to keep it going. I'm just hoping that they can, because they've certainly opened eyes this last month in baseball. They made that turn for the positive, and things are falling in place for them. So let's see what happens from this point on. They can't give up trying to improve this ball club because they're in the toughest division in all of baseball, and they've been slapped around as much as any team has ever been. And so they, losing
this more frequently, and I apologize that we don't call more often. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
Thank you so much for remembering. Thank you, and giving me a call. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Appreciate you, Rick. All right, you win this one, Griffin. As it turns out, I used to say it all the time. I get that people would have their fun with Rick and the Uncle Rick thing. I don't care. I love Rick Dempsey, and I will always love Rick Dempsey. And even when he was trying to make things seem like they were better than they were, I don't care. I love Rick Dempsey. I will always, forever, eternally love Rick Dempsey. Deal with it. He's also, a very, very kind man and incredibly. Go ahead. We'll figure out the breaks. Whatever. We'll figure it out. We got time. We'll do what we got to do. And that was powerful. Obviously he played for the Dodgers, but of course Rick also grew up in Southern California. And so listening to him tell the stories of, wanting to sneak away from his parents to listen to Vin Scully call baseball games. It's powerful stuff. It's very powerful. I appreciate that conversation. All right, today's show brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. The place to be for every sporting event, including, seriously, the Silly Hall, the Jake Luton Showcase tomorrow night. The Jaguars and the Raiders. You can bet on it. You can start winning money on football games tomorrow in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. And bet pads are coming. In the coming weeks, you will be able to bet from the comfort of your own seat. So why don't you go ahead and lock your seat in. Reserve your seat for Sunday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Monday Night Football this season, Ravens games. I keep trying to warn you about that first weekend of college football, which is delicious. And you could do your fantasy draft there while you're betting on the college football games. Go ahead and lock that in by emailing events@sportssocialmd.com. Events@sportssocialmd.com is the email address if you want to lock in your spot to be hanging out in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Well, I guess we'll try to take the break now. Would You Rather Wednesday scenarios brought to you by Glory Days Grill. They are up at Glenn Clark Radio. 3 of them. Quickly. Number 1, would you rather the Orioles indeed sign Trey Mancini back at the end of the year to a reasonable 4-year, $50 million deal? Or, no, inevitably, those at-bats do have to go to someone else. Love Trey, but you can't do it. Number 2, you were the winner of the $1 billion lottery that happened last week. Would you rather go show up, take all those winnings, but it's publicly announced that you were the winner, and now everyone you know knows of your extreme wealth? Or would you rather a trusted friend says, hey, man, I tell you what, I'll go say I was the winner. I'll take the bullet. You give me 30% of what you won. And no one will ever know that you have this extraordinary wealth because they'll think that I won. But it's going to cost you 30% of your winnings. All right? Number 3, would you rather go back, live the life of the legendary, iconic Vin Scully, who passed away last night, or go back, live the life, and continue to live the life of Tom Brady, who celebrates his 45th birthday today? 2 icons, 2 larger-than-life figures. One who was able to do what he did at a high level far beyond when anybody else could. The other, the same. Which would you rather? Those are the 3 Would You Rather Wednesday scenarios brought to you by Glory Days Grill. Get your responses in at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio as well. Drew Forrester, Drew'sMorningDish.com, Fairways and Greens on 105.7 The Fan. What's going on, pal? How are you?
So there's country music in the background that might bleed over, but I can't move because if I move, I might lose the signal.
Right. So what you went camping? Like you're like 100 years old. What are you doing?
Just getting back in touch with Earth, man, you know.
What are you talking about, getting back in touch with Earth? Was this Ethan's idea? Like, whose idea was it to go camping?
We do it all the time.
What are you talking about? You never
Every year.
Me. Really? Where do you go?
Every year.
Where do you go?
This year we're at Mountain Creek up in Pennsylvania.
Okay. All right. Do you now what is camping in the Forrester house? Is it like really roughing it, or do you guys like rent a cabin or something like that?
No. We have a trailer.
Okay.
So it's half roughing it.
Half roughing it. Yeah, it's half roughing
right.
it. I got to tell you, my father-in-law's got it made. They got a camper that's so amazing. I would live there. I was like, this is nicer than most of the houses I've lived in.
There's 100 of those here.
Gosh.
There are tons of those here.
Man, I'm like, I don't need to walk outside at all. I can just hang out in this thing for a little while.
Yeah, no, there are tons of them here.
All right. Well, so go ahead and give me your thumbnail on the last couple of days and Trey and.
Well, I'm really excited about Brett Phillips, and I think he could wind up being, as I said this morning, he could be the Nate McLouth. He might be the one that hits one off the foul pole against the Yankees.
Well, I don't know if you heard, Nate McLouth didn't do that. He missed the foul.
I was there. Yeah. That ball hit the pole. Yeah. I was at that game, and it hit the pole.
It's comical, yes.
I don't know. I mean, I'm on the other side of it because I do think that I know Elias doesn't think they have a chance to make it. I do think they have a chance to make it, and they might still even have a chance to make it, even without those 2 guys. And
by the way,
and I said to you a month ago they could move Lopez, and it wouldn't bother me at all. Mancini bothers you for all the reasons that we all know. Yep. Do I think they're better without him? No, but I also don't think that he's, we're not talking about Paul Goldschmidt, as I said this morning. Like, he is what he is. We've always said that. Great guy, great person to have in your organization, good player.
Yep, I agree with all those things. What I would say is I am far more bothered by Mike Elias's comments than I am by the trades. Like, I truly, it irks me. And I think the honest. I just think he's too honest and he's too robotic about baseball. I don't think Mike Elias is capable of considering what that message is to a fan base, right? Like, all Mike Elias thinks about is doing what you're supposed to do for a baseball reason. I can't. You are representing the organization, and you're telling everyone, hey, this is fool's gold. Like, there's a group of fans that want to fall in love with this team again, and you're publicly saying, hey, this isn't real. Like, I can't believe he said that, whether he was being honest or not.
Yeah, I would agree. I thought it was, and I don't know, maybe he was saying that to try to pry. I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe he had a deal on the table for Cedric Mullins, and he thought he was close to getting it, and he didn't want to give anything away, and he felt like, man, if I get this message out there, this somehow, this presents my side. Like, I don't know, because I also thought it was weird, right? Like,
it was insane.
You're as close as anybody to making it.
Right.
None of these teams. You think your team's worse than the White Sox? They can't win 3 games in a row.
You've had the third best record in the American League since May. Since May 1st. Not even since Adley Rutschman arrived. Since May 1st.
With had 5 good players.
Correct. Like, why can't – I get it. Because, again, there's a weird part of me. I kind of agree. I look at him on paper, and I'm like, well, I don't know if this can continue. But then the flip side is, why can't it? You've gotten to this point, despite the fact
these every night, pretty much, it's someone different, which is the tonic for an event like this to transpire.
Right.
You're not getting 30-30 from Mullins and a 291, 26 homer. Hey, this dude could hit 50 homer a year from Mountcastle.
Right.
You're getting Mullins is had a terrible start, had a really nice run, tapered off. Now he's back again. You're getting Mountcastle struggling. Rutschman's come on and been great. Mateo, no one had any idea he would do this. He's going to hit 20 home runs by the end of the year.
It's nuts. No, but to your point,
the Urias kid,
right? For a month it was Austin Hayes. For a month it was Urias. It's crazy. And by the way, the one thing that I am coming around on is there's a chance that we underhyped Adley Rutschman. Like, we all talked that maybe we overhyped him. This kid is so good so quickly. There's a chance that we underhyped this dude. It's insane how good Adley Rutschman is this early.
I saw the list today, right? Bo Bichette, Chris Sabo, and somebody else are the only 3 people in the history of baseball that did what he did in his first 57.
Hang on, there's a better one. It's him and Ted Williams in one category. It's
right.
I gotta remember.
Now, I'm not saying that Bo Bichette and Chris Sabo are any great shakes, but I am saying that in the history of baseball,
a nice player. And Chris Sabo had a good career. But this is the stat. Adley Rutschman is one of just 2 players with at least 20 doubles, 20 walks, and 5 home runs to their first 59 career games. The other is Ted Williams.
Right. When you start talking about positive things, not negative, this guy's the first guy to strike out 24 times. There's only 2 guys that have ever struck out 24 times in their first 12 games. We're talking the other way. When you have a stat of any kind and only 2 or 3 people in the history of the game have done it, and it's a good stat, that's pretty telling, right?
Insane. It's bonkers. Yeah. And we had seen all of the other things. Like, we had seen all the stuff that made us say, okay, we get it. Like, we get why we think...
Well, he can catch.
Correct.
He can catch. We got all of that,
he's
right?
He's impacting a staff, like, in a way that can't be defined by a statistic.
Right.
Because these guys stink. Like, the Orioles have no business pitching at all with this group of guys, and yet they're pitching very well for the most part. I get it. The bloom's coming off the rose with Dean Kramer, and, they're going to run into it. We saw all of those things. Now we're seeing a guy who's hitting 2 doubles every night, who currently somewhere right now is hitting a double, is standing on second base. This guy's insane. That's the one thing I would say that's the most remarkable about all of it, is this guy is everything everyone said he was going to be. It doesn't guarantee he's going to have a 12-year career or something like that, but all of the talent that people saw, yes, correct. They nailed it on this. This is one of the most talented kids we've ever seen come along.
Imagine how many home runs he's going to hit in Fenway Park in 2028.
Shut up. What a terrible person.
Just imagine.
What a monster you are. What What an awful.
He might hit 75 home runs. He might hit 75 home runs if they're still playing in that ballpark. He might have 75.
What a terrible person you are. God, you feel good about yourself?
Well, you know that there's only 4 places he can possibly go.
All right.
Right.
So
he could go to the Mariners. I mean, obviously.
Shut up already. Shut up. God. Gee, Drew Forrester, Drew'sMoneyDish.com. All right, you're camping, so we'll let you do that. But we're going to play Would You Rather Wednesday. Before that, I'll give you 20. Does it matter, this thing everybody's flipping out about how much money Tiger Woods was offered? Like, I've heard people say, hey, well, don't forget Tiger Woods hates Greg Norman, so maybe that has something to do with it. I think it's very odd that Tiger Woods might prove to be the moral compass of the sport. Tiger Woods might prove to be that guy. What do you make of all that conversation?
Well, I would say that, first of all, they only wanted to give him $850 million to do 2 things, right? To get him away from the tour, and even though he isn't really playing, and that's going to be my second point, they would get him away from the tour, and it would be the ultimate, no pun intended here, it would be their ultimate trump card. We got the greatest player in the history of golf. I mean, we can argue about Jack, but Jack's not playing. We got the greatest player in the history of golf to come to us. Now, at 32, would he have done this? At the height of his career, would he have done this? I don't know, maybe. But now he's not playing. I don't know what value he would bring to them. He isn't playing any of their events. He's not getting on a plane and flying to Tokyo or Sydney to play in one of their events. He's not going to go play, the London event. So I don't know what they were hoping to get out of him. He can't play anymore.
Right.
Like you saw that this summer. He played Augusta.
He physically can't do it. Right.
He can't do it. Right. And he certainly can't do it now. I know what people are going to say. What about 54 holes? Mm-hmm. What about the rumor that they told him he could use a cart? Like, I still don't think, as weird as it sounds, right? I don't think skirting the rules, insert your joke here, I don't think skirting the rules appeals to him like that.
I hear you.
He wants to play 72-hole events. He wants to walk. He doesn't want to be given any sort of free pass. He doesn't want that. He won't do it, right? So I don't know what value he would offer them. But I do think it's an interesting question. We'll never know the answer. But I do think it's an interesting question is, in 2008, would he have done it? Would he have said, and it wouldn't have been $850 then, probably, it would have been less, but would he have said, hey, I'll take $500 million and I'll hop over there and play for 3 or 4 years?
Okay.
He might have.
Okay.
But, I give him credit now, and maybe this is an easy position to adopt, but I give him credit now that he's, I think Rory is the de facto mouthpiece for the other side. But, Tiger saying what he said at the British Open was pretty damning against them. And he did it in such a way that he wasn't overly spiteful. I didn't think he came across like that at all. I think he came across pretty much like, hey, man. And I think what he really wanted to say is, in all honesty, what he really wanted to say, but he didn't say it is, dude, I built this thing. All the money that these guys are making at Live Golf, they're making that because of me. Let's be honest.
Okay.
They all became stars on the PGA. They all became stars on the PGA Tour because of me.
Indisputable.
Dustin Johnson made $45 million because of me. So he didn't want to say that. He didn't want to say, I'm not leaving the PGA Tour. I built the friggin' thing.
And
when I say he built the friggin' thing, I mean in his career, not, Arnie helped, Hogan helped, Jack helped, none of those guys, because times change and society evolves. None of those guys did what he has done. And I think he wanted to say that, like, why would I leave? I built it.
Yep.
And it's been great for me. Yep. And, oh, by the way, it's been great for the guys over there.
Y'all should
thank me.
Yes,
money.
Correct. Y'all should give me a piece of it. There's no doubt.
Right.
No one actually cares about Bryson DeChambeau. They care about golf because I made them care about golf. And now you care. Exactly right. All right,
Correct. So I think he wanted to say that, but he just couldn't do it.
Yep.
You know.
Let me get to Would You Rather Wednesday quickly. Would You Rather Wednesday is brought to you by Glory Days Grill. Let's try to go through these in at rapid pace. Would you rather the Orioles indeed re-sign Trey Mancini after the year's over, or no, those at-bats need to go somewhere else?
You know, I think you kind of sort of have to see what else they're going to do, but I would lean towards he can go ahead and move on.
Okay, number 2. Would you rather?
But again, I wouldn't mind seeing what else they're going to do. I do think that's fair.
I agree. Number 2. Would you rather? You won the $1 billion lottery. Would you rather?
Yes.
Hang on.
No, yes.
Stop. Would you rather come forward as the singular winner, and now everyone on the planet knows about your extreme wealth? Or a trusted friend says, tell you what, you give me 30%, no one will ever know that you won. I'll take that.
Okay, so I get it all, but everyone knows I got it all, and I got people like you
exactly right
off me.
Yep, 100%.
Or
you can you keep living your life. It's like nothing ever happened. You keep 70% of all those winnings, and somebody else takes that bullet for you.
This is the dumbest question I've ever heard.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Give me the whole thing I can give money to you, people like you, and get you off my case.
All right, fair. You know, you'd still be allowed to give people money. I don't know if you've heard. You'd still be allowed to do that.
I know, but I don't have any.
All right.
And if I did, I would.
Number 3, would you rather have lived the life of the legendary Vin Scully or live the life and continue to live the life of Tom Brady? He turns 45 today.
Oh, Tom Brady's 45 today?
He is.
He's got 6 more years left.
Probably.
Boy, oh boy, I don't know. I've never seen Vin Scully's wife, but I'm leaning towards Brady.
Jesus. All right. What's Fairways and Greens? No, that's perfect.
I'm just saying,
it's perfect.
dude.
It's perfect. I'm not gonna. It's perfect. Fairways and Greens, Sunday at noon, 105.7.
Real quick, by the way, I got to say this real quick.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the 1 minute and 2 clip of Vin Scully talking about Madison Bumgarner killing a snake.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
While he's doing the play-by-play, it's unbelievable.
It's incredible. You're 100% right.
It's crazy.
DrewsMorningDish.com, 105.7 The Fan, Sunday at noon for Fairways and Greens. Appreciate you, pal. We will talk to you next week.
I got to go make some scrapple.
Enjoy your scrapple, weirdo. All right, when we come back in, we will let's talk a little bit more about Vin Scully. The great Gary Thorne is going to join us next. This is Glenn Clark Radio.
Hey Birdland, join in on the fun and celebrate the 30th anniversary of Oriole Park at Camden Yards on Saturday, August 6th, as the O's take on the Pittsburgh Pirates at 5:05. The first 15,000 fans 15 and over will receive a 30th anniversary Oriole Park t-shirt. Then stay post-game for the Birdland Summer Music Series presented by Miller Lite I Love the 90s concert, featuring Drew Hill with a special performance by Cisco and Smash Mouth. Tickets start as low as $15 at Orioles.com/tickets.
Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new FanDuel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Summer is in full swing, and so is the summer seasonal menu at Glory Days Grill. Start with the opener, flash fried pork belly with their popular Korean No. 2 sauce, and try their South Carolina barbecue chicken, or back by popular demand, the lobster roll with grilled corn. Also try the irresistible crab and lobster fries, or the very berry salad with chicken. And for dessert, the Cracker Jack sundae with a waffle, ice cream, and Cracker Jacks. This menu will be going, gone. Find out more and get your order in at glorydaysgrill.com. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
The 2022 baseball season is in full swing, and the future is brighter than ever for your Baltimore Orioles. I'm Paul Valley.
And I'm Zach Goodman.
And together we bring you the Bat Around every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon with everything you need to know about the Orioles and baseball as a whole. From veterans like Cedric Mullins, Austin Hayes, and Ryan Mountcastle,
to young stars like Adley Rutschman, Grayson Rodriguez, and DL Hall.
We've got you covered for every game, every pitch,
and every debut.
You can watch us at youtube.com/PressBoxOnline and Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, or you can listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. So join us live on the Bat Around every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon right here at PressBox Sports. It's statistically proven that the show sounds better if you're not wearing pants. Like me, right now. You're listening to Glenn Clark Radio.
Continue to get me responses for Would You Rather Wednesday at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. We will give away a $25 gift card to Glory Days Grill for someone who participates today. Today's show also brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Make the most out of every day in a Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models, a RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today. Mike Devereaux will join us later on this hour, one of my favorites. Somebody's all worked up. Eric is mad online at me because I actually... You know what? I'll get to that. We will get to all of you and more responses for Would You Rather Wednesday coming up this hour. But as we continue to reflect, again, it's almost a little bit strange because Vin Scully was so synonymous with one particular fan base, one particular franchise, but yet the reaction, the sadness is so much more global than that. We've truly lost an icon, And I did have that question. Why? Why is Vin held so singularly as being the greatest voice in the history of baseball? And I was really hoping that our next guest could help me answer that question because he was a damn good voice of baseball and obviously someone who we were thrilled to welcome into our homes for years here in Baltimore as the voice of the Orioles on Mass. And he is the legendary Gary Thorne, and he's back with us here on GCR. Gary, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It is always good to chat with you. Thank you, my friend, for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Yes. Sure, Glenn. Nice to talk with you.
Can you explain to me, Gary? There have been so many great broadcasters in this sport. We have had so many legends that have come. Can you give us an idea of why it is that Vin was so separated and held so singularly as the sacred voice of this sport?
Well, I think duration certainly has a lot to do with it. When you've done 67 years with a team, you're going to get noticed and you're going to become known. So I think that's a very big part of that. Secondly, it was the Dodgers, and it was the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Los Angeles Dodgers. So the whole story of the move of baseball to the West Coast, of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier, all was part of Vinny's career. And so he lived through that. When people wanted to have a story about the move or about Jackie, then you'd go to Vin. So nationally, issues that were national in scope beyond just baseball became part of what Vin talked about and what he did, and people came to know him through that. And you're talking about, the two large media markets. Mm-hmm. When you're in New York and you're in Los Angeles, there's a tremendous amount of attention directed to the teams that are in those cities and thus to the broadcasters who cover those games. And you put all of that together, and then you've got Vinny himself. I mean, the fact that he was just such a natural talent and such a natural personality on the air that people just fell in love with him and loved listening to him. And then you've got his national programs where he was doing, he did World Series, he did golf, he did a number of events that brought him national television attention. So when you put all that together, that's a big pie. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's just so noted and so well known. And the fact that his consideration as being such a great baseball broadcaster is just the fact that he was. People love listening to him. Look, in the end, in this business, I don't care what sport you're broadcasting, people got to like it. And if they don't like it, you're not going to get known. As simple as that. And Vinny was loved, whether you were